Hello YouTube, my name is Agentomega, and I do things. Today is Final Fantasy XIV's 7.4 patch, or more accurately, yesterday was Final Fantasy XIV's 7.4 patch, and that includes a number of updates to the game, but the one that I'm most excited for is Glamour. You see, Glamour received a whole bunch of restriction unlocks, and that means that, as far as armor goes, we can equip, or we can glamour, pretty much anything onto anything else. I mean, there are still some restrictions, like gender-specific items, which is unfortunate, but hey, they're getting there. They are genuinely going back through some of the older items and unrestricting them in that regard. But you can now glamour any class onto any other class, and I do mean any, as far as I'm aware. That includes Blue Mage, that includes the crafting classes, etc., etc. And you can also glamour high-level items onto low-level items, which you weren't able to do before, and that means that you can now do endgame glamours on classes that you're leveling. It's pretty rad. Now first, let me just re-enable the HUD here. First, we are on Scholar, and we're about to test something that I'm pretty sure is going to fail. I have an embossed book of Electrum here. You notice that it is equipable by both Scholar and Summoner, and I think if this works, this is the only reason it's going to work. But if it doesn't work, and I'm not going to be surprised if it doesn't, because it hasn't worked in the past, and this is an arm, which is something that they said that they probably aren't going to allow you to equip, but wait. Does it work? Hold on. Okay, y'all, keep in mind, I'm on Scholar right now. This right here is a summoner weapon, and previously, I mean, I could be wrong. I don't know why this one isn't selectable. But previously, you weren't able to put summoner things onto Scholar weapons. And so, we can just sort of drive this in even further. This is the Veil of WHM. I don't expect this is going to work, but if it does... Did that work? Wait, no freaking way! I did not think this was going to work. Where's my Veil of WHM? That's the Omnilex Atma. That's the Veil of WHM. This is so rad. Hold on. Okay, so that was test number 1. Test number 2, because right now, again, this is the last book in ARR that is equipable by both Summoner and Scholar, because at the time, it was effectively the same class or whatever. Like, yes, you did still have to equip the different Soulstone, but they shared stats because they both had Arcanist as the base, until they finally refactored things and did away with Cleric stance and all that whatnot. People that played back then, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But this is the last book that both Arcanist, or that both Summoner and Scholar could equip. And therefore, I figured it was the best way to test it. So let's equip a Scholar-specific item. That is Summoner, that is Summoner. Where are all my Scholar items? Okay, so here is a Scholar item. What are you? Manderville Index? Let's try glamouring the Manderville Index, then, onto this very specifically Scholar item. Okay, cool. So there is definitely a little bit of an asterisk on the arms thing, and that is, if it can be equipped by the class that you're attempting to glamour onto, and it's the same type of arm, then you can do it. So because it's a book, we can glamour Summoner books onto Scholar weapons, even if it's Scholar only. And I'm guessing vice versa, so if we just really quickly, I wasn't planning for this. I wasn't planning for this because I thought it was immediately going to fail. But let's go to this Quetzali Chronicle, and let's cast Glamour, please. And then, sure, Codex of Divine Light. That's pretty... No, let's go with the Omnilex. Omnilex Atma looks pretty good. I'm pretty sure that's the Omnilex. Let me just double check. Yeah, we've got the feather there in the correct place. Let me just Oh, right, I have my book set to go away because of this glamour. But that's crazy. I was not expecting this to work because they said, hey, yeah, arms are not going to be glamourable because of items. So I thought this was a long shot, but I kind of held out hope that it would work just because they are both books, and that's kind of how it worked in 11. So if you had like a class-specific knife, let's say you had a ninja knife. I don't think that's accurate, but let's pretend for 5 seconds. And then on Dancer, you wanted to style lock with that knife, you could totally do it because Dancer can equip knives, and as long as you were wielding a knife, you could glamour a knife onto a knife. It didn't matter. And so they've taken the same approach for books, and that's amazing. Now the thing is, of course, Final Fantasy XIV mostly has different weapon types per job. Scholar and Summoner are the one unique exception, I'm pretty sure. There might be some White Mage and Black Mage overlap, though, which we can make our third test. But our next test is not really a test. We're setting the groundwork for the next test. So, our next test is to switch to Paladin, and I really need to put together a portrait for Paladin, but you can see we've got a whole bunch of gear from other classes. That's, you know, kind of the whole point of 7.4, at least as far as glamour goes. If we take a look at what we're wearing, we have just a whole bunch of healer items, caster items, scouting items, what have you, stuff that previously, obviously, couldn't go on Paladin. But that's not the end of it, because you'll notice that I also have Black Mage and White Mage here, because I have a theory. And because Scholar and Summoner paid off, I'm increasingly thinking that this theory is correct. So, let's really quickly switch to Black Mage, which is kind of what I had intended this for, fingers crossed. I think it's worked. Oh, it's worked! Oh, this is amazing. Okay, so, also going back to ARR, 2.0, there used to be one-handed weapons in the game. And, I mean, obviously they still exist, they're kind of a legacy item, but if you had a one-handed item, you also had an offhand shield. And if I just open my inventory real quick, we're using the Allegan Scepter, which is one of the higher level available one-handed Thaumaturge's arms, and a Darksteel Buckler, which is the last shield the Black Mage can get, at least on the market board. There might be others, like from dungeons or instances and stuff, but I didn't want to waste my time farming specifically for this video. And, yeah, we can glamour Paladin stuff onto Black Mage, and consequently, also White Mage. I mean, look at that! That's crazy! I mean, okay, there's no real use for this unless you're specifically doing level 50 and below content, and, okay, that is kind of an unfortunate pose. The shield is clipping into my face just there. I don't really like it. This is making me uncomfortable. But let's say you want to just do PvP and have some unique glim-glam going on. As long as you don't mind having level 50 and below stuff, then you could be a wand and shield caster in 2 instances. This is great. This is amazing. Now, of course, it doesn't really benefit us the other way for Paladin because, the cross-equipable shields are kind of meh. I mean, we're talking about Final Fantasy 2.0 or 14 2.0. We're talking about ARR. ARR shields didn't always look the best. Now, while I'm thinking about it, we are still on White Mage. Let me try casting Glamour. Yeah, it just lets us do this. And I intentionally saved my reaction, specifically I intentionally saved this test until I could record my genuine reaction here. And this is great. This opens up just a silly level of customization for 50 and below content. And so if you're constantly doing things in PvP and you just want something unique, or if you want to do Crystal Tower or something like that, or just Deep Dungeon. Yeah, you could go in Deep Dungeon. Actually no, because it replaces your weapons. Never mind on that one. But there's a lot of stuff that you can do below level 50, or 50 or below, that this suddenly becomes viable and very interesting. Now what was the last thing I wanted to do? Yes, the last thing that I wanted to do is swap to, say, White Mage. And here's going to be the real trick. Can I cast a Black Mage staff onto a White Mage? How do I only have... what? Okay, this actually makes me think that no, you can't really do that for this, because I surely have other Black Mage weapons, right? I do, yeah, I've got the Omega Rod here. So unfortunately, rods and staves are still not swappable. Asterisk, let me go to the market board real quick and just check. Okay, so where are we going? We are looking for Conjurer's Arms that Black Mage can equip. Is that possible? No, you can't filter on both. Of course not. That would be very silly. Conjurer White Mage, Conjurer White Mage, Conjurer White Mage, Conjurer White Mage. It just keeps... yeah. Ne'er the two did meet. Okay, well, that was worth a shot. I didn't think that that was going to work, but, you know, the fact that our other experiments did kind of was neat. So, that is going to do it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to like, subscribe, and click that bell to be notified. And as always, I'm looking forward to your feedback in the comments below. And also, happy holidays, one and all. And with that, I will catch you on the flip side. Thanks for watching, everybody. In the upper left, in the lower left, are some videos you might like. And on the right is my icon, by which you can subscribe. Thanks again for watching!